Failure is the vanguard of success. The avenues of endeavor herald discovery. But this path has no end. Space is infinite. The questions are limitless. In a million years hence, we will still look up and ponder what is above and beyond.
Apollo 11, 15 July 1969, Cape Kennedy, Florida, the night before the big day. £6 million of machine, 36 stories tall, nearly 10 years' work of 500,000 people. Through the night it was checklisted, double-checked, electronically monitored, computerized, televised, dehumanized of human error. While the night of celebration was ending, the day began for the astronauts. Breakfast, medical examination, suiting up. Neil Armstrong, Commander, Apollo 11. Edwin Buzz Aldrin, Lunar Module Pilot. Michael Collins, Command Module Pilot. Far across the Indian River, 12 miles away, the rocket. At 6:32 a.m., 3 hours before launch on pad 31A, Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the surface of the Earth. Their next steps would be on the moon. Spectators rolled in by the thousands. Campers, trailers, cars and pickups filled the campsites, the beaches, lined the highways, lined the parkways. Nose to tailgate, Cape Canaveral to Titusville. Very satisfactory for launch this morning. A thin cloud cover of about 15,000 feet. Temperature at launch time expected to be about 85 degrees. T-minus 1 hour, 29 minutes and 30 seconds and counting. Propellant load, pressure and temperature. Digital transmission, worldwide tracking. Stabilization and guidance. Radio frequency telemetry and voice communications. Signal conditioner integration. Spacecraft electrical power. Flight control. SB4 propulsion stage monitoring. S1C, S2 propulsion stage. Every important valve, gauge and circuit was continually monitored at Launch Control Center throughout the 28-hour countdown. T-minus 55 minutes, 10 seconds and counting.
T-minus 55 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy.
Among the 6,000 special guests were a vice president, an ex-president, 2 plane loads of the diplomatic corps from Washington, 205 U.S. congressmen, 19 governors, 30 senators, 50 mayors from cities across the country, movie celebrities and television personalities, and another 2 plane loads of dignitaries from Europe. Around the world, another morning. Not so very different from the morning before or tomorrow morning. This day on which man will leave Earth to walk on the moon, 3 billion people went about their daily lives, some in the way their ancestors did centuries before, others in a world shaped by modern technology. It seemed that most people were unaware that this event might change the history of the human race, that this morning would be marked in history books and learned by their children's children. At what age of man will the meaning of this morning be understood?
Apollo. Saturn launch control. We passed the
Apollo
6-minute
Launch
mark
Control
in our
announced that
countdown
they've
for
passed
Apollo
the
11.
6-minute mark in their
Wind
countdown for Apollo 11 to land the first men on the moon. They're on schedule for the planned liftoff of 32 minutes past the hour.
Coming up shortly, that swing arm up at the spacecraft level will come back to its fully retracted position. This should occur at the 5-minute mark in the count.
The swing arm up at the spacecraft level comes back to its fully retracted position at the 5-minute mark of the count. 4 minutes and counting. We are go for Apollo 11.
We'll be coming up in the automatic sequence about 10 or 15 seconds from this time.
The vehicle is starting to pressurize as far as the propellant tanks are concerned, and all is still go. Firing command coming in now. They're on automatic sequence as the master computer supervises hundreds of events occurring over the last few minutes. 2 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Oxidizer tanks in the second and third stages have now been pressurized. T-minus 1 minute, 35 seconds. The third stage completely pressurized. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We've passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong reported back to say thank you for the good wishes and that they know it will be a good flight. Good luck and Godspeed. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. The astronauts report that it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6.
Roger, we confirm, skirts up. Tower's gone. Roger, tower.
When Apollo was safely underway, control of the mission was switched to Houston. The months of tightly focused work at the Cape were over. It could be said that this was the culmination of the dreams and fantasies of men and women over 25 centuries of recorded time. Tom Kane. Marconi. John Gubold. Marie Curie. Alan Shepard. John F. Kennedy. Yuri Gagarin. Copernicus. Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci. Albert Einstein. And Robert Goddard, the American rocket pioneer, inventor, dreamer. They called him the Moon Man and laughed, but on his own he went ahead designing, inventing and testing. His first proving grounds were on his Aunt Effie's farm in Albury, Massachusetts. The neighbors complained. With a grant from Daniel Guggenheim, he moved to New Mexico with his wife Esther, who was also his camerawoman. Goddard had invented and launched the world's first liquid propellant rocket in 1926, and in the end he accumulated more than 200 patents for everything from multi-stage rockets and fuel pumps to clustered engines. By the year 1930, his rockets achieved a speed of 500 miles per hour and an altitude of 2,000 feet. This was the year in which the 3 Apollo astronauts were born. Goddard had a vision of the age of space, but the world was too slow to make it happen before his death. Thank you, Robert Goddard, for your inventiveness and perseverance.